Hey guys, it's Lonnie. Uh, it's a Sunday night, and I'm having a beer with you guys not too long before I turn in for bed. And I wanted to go ahead and post a video tonight about one of my favorite subjects when it comes to the resale game, and that is negotiation. Uh, I feel like it's something that I've gotten pretty good at, definitely way better than I was 2 years ago when I first started. I used to be terrified to negotiate. I would often either pay the people what they were asking if it wasn't too high, or if I didn't want to pay it, I would just move on. Kind of didn't want the conflict, and things have really changed to where now I really embrace the negotiation. It's the most fun part of the week for me is when I go out on Friday and Saturday mornings to garage sales and have a bunch of little battles with people. It's a lot of fun. I look at it like a chess match, and when I win, I feel good about it, and when I lose, it kind of gnaws at me, and I try and think of ways that I could have done better. If there was a way. Um, so today I've been kind of thinking about it, and I wrote up like a list of a few talking points here, and if you guys have any input, I would love to see it down in the comments below because I know we all take different approaches to things, and I've learned a lot by watching other YouTubers. So, if you have input, I would definitely welcome it. And I don't think there's a right or a wrong way necessarily. Every situation's different. Every person's different. My style might not work for you, and your style might not work for me. But let me go ahead and get started and tell you what I do. Um, or talk about some of these points here because negotiating is it's just a huge topic. So yeah, I could probably do a 3 or 4 part video series about it, just what I know, and I don't know much. Um, One of the first things that I think about negotiating is when it comes to garage sales or yard sales. I like to begin a negotiation by approaching the seller and saying, will you take X amount of dollars for this object? I don't like to say, are you open to negotiation? Or what is your lowest price? Are you open to negotiation? Uh, Most people don't like to negotiate. So whenever I ask them if they're open to negotiation, then they're all automatically going to be on the defensive. They might just say no. They might say yes, and things might proceed the way you want them to. But sometimes they might just say no because they don't want to deal with it. Um, and if you ask them, what's your best price? Well, you're not negotiating with them. You're asking them to negotiate with themselves. They've already thrown their price out. You haven't thrown any price at all. They've labeled a price. And now you're asking them to negotiate down to a point where you may or may not bite. So I don't think that's fair, on their part, or on your part to ask them to negotiate with no one. So come at them with a price, and it's a binary question. They can say yes or no, or maybe they come back with another price. I bet more than 50% of the time that I say, will you take X number of dollars? More than 50% of the time, they just say yes, and it's over with. And it's not really a negotiation. It just ended up being a ask a question and get an answer kind of thing, and it was simple. So just ask a pointed, direct question with a number that you have in your head that you want to get the item for. Um, Number two, keep the seller on your side. And the the way I look at that is I see a lot of times when people negotiate, like if I'm at a garage sale and I see somebody trying to get a better price on something, they'll pick an item up and they'll say, "Oh, it's scuffed here. This is the old model," or so and so was selling these last year at this price, or doing anything they can to downgrade that item. Well, the seller knows that's bullshit because if the item was so bad, then why would you want it? Why would you find it desirable? So I mean, you don't need to build up all the good points of the item, but it's okay to say, "Hey, this is pretty cool. I would really like to have it. Uh, let's negotiate. Let's talk. Will you take this amount of money? And if you can't, if you're kind of stuck, say, look, sometimes I'll, self-deprecation almost always works. Say, look, that item's, this X item is worth it, worth that amount of money. I don't have that much money, or hey, I'm a cheapskate. I really want to get it for cheaper than that. Just turn it into, it's not a problem about the item. It's not a them problem. It's a you problem that you don't want to pay that much money, because that's easy to solve. They just lower the price. If you go into, you know, how bad the item is, a lot of people take, those kind of statements as, they take it personally. Like, well, if you're saying there's something wrong with that, then you're saying there's something wrong with me, and it I don't think that's an effective way to negotiate. I don't. I think it puts people on the defensive. Keep them on your side. Number three is bundle. And I mean, if you watch American Pickers at all, that's Frank's big thing is to bundle, and he's correct. Like, that's probably my number one tactic is, like, let's say I walk into a garage sale and I have my eye on this figurine here, and I see this other figurine off to the side. Well, maybe I'm trying to get this one for $10, and the seller says, well, I I really got to get 20 for that. I really don't want to go any lower than that. And you feel like you've gotten, kind of to an impasse where they're not going to move on the price. Well, all you got to do at that point, you had an ace in the hole. Say, hey, I'll give you the $20. Just throw this one in, or throw, something else in. And I can't tell you how many times that works. Usually they'll want to be done with that negotiation anyway, so they're looking for a way out, and you're giving them the money. So I find that's just a really good tactic. And I can't tell you how many times that throw in item that I put in on top, a lot of times that item was worth more than the one that I was initially negotiating for. So that bundling is like a really, really good tactic, and it works. But the thing is, you got to be prepared. Like when you're walking up to them, you have to already have something else catch your eye that would be good bundle fodder. Or maybe two things. Maybe you up your money a little bit and get not one but two other things thrown in. Just keep your eyes open and kind of look for different escape routes if the deal doesn't go right. And bundling is a great alternative. Uh, the next one I have on my list here is one-liners. And the key to the one-liner is you should always, just about always, be looking for a better deal at garage sales. If you see a table and you pick out, two things that are $3 a piece, hold them up. Say, will you take four for both? They almost always say yes. Or if one thing is $2, hey, will you take $1 for this? They'll take it. Just about always. If they don't take it, grab something else. You always want to be ready with more items, not more money, more items. And if it's three things for $5 or three things for $4, something like that. Always ask for a deal. It adds up big time. Like if you can save $20 every day that you go garage selling just by asking for that extra buck or extra $2 off, think about how much that adds up. $20 a day, 2 days a week, that's $40. That's $160 a month. That's a sizable amount of money. And any money that you get off at the point of your purchase, that's just like making a sale for that much money. So keep that in mind. Always ask for a break. Whenever you get to a point in negotiation where you're kind of at the end and you're not going to go up any, you've already set that maximum number, and you're not going to go any higher, just start bringing out the cash. And Show them the cash. Show it to them. Say, okay, will you take 35, and just start kind of count it out. I mean, the color and the, just like in Jerry Maguire, show me the money. When you show them the money, some people just, they salivate. They're like dogs looking at a bone. They see the money, they can almost smell it. They can feel it in their hands already. Maybe they need it really bad, and you're holding it right out in front of them. Showing them the money is an effective tactic. Um, it also shows you're serious. All they have to do is say yes, and that green is in their hands. Show them the money. Okay, the next one is set a target price. And this is common sense. Whenever you enter a negotiation, you need to have a target price in your head. Don't go past it, because at that point, I've done it. I've gone over it, both in auction situations and in just garage sale negotiations. I've gotten caught up, had to have that item. Like I used to specialize mainly in video games. I still do video games, but whenever I went to a sale, I felt like I had to have the video games that were there, that were worth getting, and I would overpay a lot of times. And when you do that, you might not be wasting money, because you'll get the money back, but you're probably going to be wasting time on the back end when you sell it, because you're not getting what you should have got. So set the target price, and if you don't hit it, just walk. No big deal. And to go along with that, whenever you leave in the morning, just check your ego at the door when you leave. Don't bring your ego with you. It's not about winning or losing. It's not about being right. It's not about being wrong. It's not about being smarter than the other guy. It's just about saving a little money, and just do what you got to do to save a few bucks. And you don't have to be right. If the person is dead set, a lot of times I don't want to leave with bad feelings. If they're dead set that item is worth $50 and I only want to pay 30, I'll just tell them, hey, you might get it. It's probably worth that. You might get it. Have a good day. Walk off. No problem. You don't have to be right. You don't have to always win. If you go into it with those kind of expectations, then you don't have so much emotion attached, and it just becomes a numbers game. And that's basically how I look at garage sale negotiations. I would really appreciate any kind of feedback that you guys have down in the comments below. If you haven't already, subscribe. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Y'all have a good night and a great week. Thanks. Bye-bye.